Hey everybody. So now we're going on to academic language and going back up and referring to the PACT webpage, pacttpa.org, and taking a look at the supporting documents and rubrics again to let you know that each discipline has academic language that has been identified as pertinent to each of those areas. And so I have an example here from History Social Studies. And this is something that you need to be taking a look at in your own discipline. But just to give you an example, we'll take a look at the academic language for History Social Science and math. So you've been taking the literacy class, which hopefully has been covering academic language as being more than just the vocabulary that has been in your discipline, but also those supporting words and ideas that help students understand and get a context for the vocabulary specific to the discipline. And so these appendices for each of the content areas gives you a little bit more direction in identifying exactly what academic language is. And so first, for each of the areas, it talks about how academic language is different from everyday language. It has a bullet list here, and you can download these off of the PACT website. And also academic language includes instructional language needed to participate in learning in the assessment task. So these are these words here that typically we might not think as vocabulary, but if students don't understand what it means to summarize, that is an important part of academic language. Also, what this document does for each of the disciplines is talks about the genres. And here it defines genres are generic designs applicable across multiple topics to guide the process of interpreting or constructing texts. And this is for history social science. So the designs are structured to achieve specific purposes related to a particular cultural and situational context. And so here it does get very specific for that history social science academic language. It gives examples of genres, and these would be good things to refer to within your commentaries if they fit into what you're doing with the learning segment that you've chosen. And again, it gives also examples of linguistic features of genres. And so these may be things that you do within your instruction that you could make explicit to the students. Talking about, okay, let's cluster some of our vocabulary words that are related. Or what are those connector words that join sentences in order to look at cause and effect comparison and that, or different grammatical structures, or how the text has been organized, things like that. And so here they also give examples of those kinds of connector words. These are things that need to be brought out and made explicit to students as being important and pieces of identifying information in order to really learn and understand the discipline. And again, they also give examples of text organization strategies for increasingly complex arguments, which arguments are one of those things that you'll need to be thinking and doing about within your learning segment in history social studies. So these are all good things to use within your lessons. They're all good things to be able to talk about in your commentaries as well. Because there's not a section on academic language, these are the things you need to be making explicit to your evaluator. So let's also look at one for math. Okay, a lot of the same information in the beginning, actually applied though to a new situation. Problem-solving steps. We didn't see that in the history social science. Genres, again, very similar linguistic features very similar. But what it's done is created this context within the discipline as well. So these are things that really go across all the disciplines, these connector words, grammatical structures, but they're applying it to the different disciplines. Again, the connector words, very important, and different types of text organization. So again, the more you make these explicit in your if you're in your reflection commentary, the easier your evaluator, and also not just your reflection commentary, but your planning commentary, the instruction commentary, the assessment commentary, all of those things are going to make it easier for your evaluator. So here again, we'll go back to the English Language Arts rubric. And again, looking at a level 3, right? Shoot for here, but all you need to do is land here. These two are the same. Candidate describes academic language strengths and needs of students at different levels of academic proficiency. So there should be some prompts within those commentaries in various places that ask about academic language proficiency of your students. The language genres discussed are clearly related to the academic purpose of the learning segment, and language demands are identified. Okay, that's the same. But then a level 3 is one or more linguistic features and or textual resources of the genre are explicitly identified. All of those things are listed on that sheet that I just showed you that can be downloaded from the PACT website. And here the difference between a 2 and a 3. A 3 is candidate identifies essential vocabulary for students to actively engage in specific language tasks. And here it's just vocabulary that may be problematic. This is what you'll find in the academic language section of your lesson plan. What is that problematic vocabulary? But if you want to take it up a step and then identify the essential vocabulary, and maybe you take that academic language section in your lesson plan and you say essential vocabulary, you identify problematic vocabulary, and then you identify essential vocabulary. That's the difference between a 2 and a 3. Okay? So that's that part of academic language. The next part of the rubric is taking a look to see how your planning, instruction, and assessment support academic language development. So these are pieces that won't just be, that will be looked at primarily, I should say, will be looked at primarily in the planning, instruction, and assessment section. So are you using scaffolding or other support to address identified gaps? Or you're providing explicit models, opportunities for practice, and feedback for students to further their language proficiency? Okay, here again, over here in the level 2, asking to identify genres and key linguistic features. But back to the 3, the candidate articulates why the instructional strategies are chosen are likely to support specific aspects of students' language development for different levels of language proficiency. Now, let's say you choose a class that you don't have English learners in. Well, all of your students are still developing language proficiency. They're still being exposed to new vocabulary and new concepts. What are you doing to help them learn that language of your discipline? This is really what it essentially comes down to for academic language. So I hope this has been helpful. Nice little less than 10-minute overview, and we can talk about this more, but I'll put up a discussion board on Blackboard, and if you have questions in the meantime before we see each other again, we can post all of that information there. Thanks, y'all. Bye.